Hi everybody, my name is Michelle and I'm Mama Loves You GB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. This is sometime about the third week in May. All I know is that half term is next weekend. So it must be the 20th. It must be the 20th of May. How do I know that? Ask me how I know that. Because there's some chicken going out in the fridge tomorrow and I've got to use it up. So yeah, as always I film on a Saturday night. And I don't know if you can hear outside, it's about 9:30 at night and the birds are giving it loudly. It is not quite dark here yet. We're about as far west as you can go in Wales, and so it's not quite dark yet and the birds are giving it some. So if you hear something going on outside, that is what it is. Talking of birds, in fact I've got two bird related things. Oops, dropped those. My May spread has quite a lot of birds on it, and my second one, a bit sad really, a thrush flew into our house today, and she flew in and obviously the dogs barked and whatever else, and she flew so hard at the window on the other side she died. And Ness came in and she said, Mama, there's a bird on the windowsill. And so we worked out what had happened, and she kept going and have a look at it. She kept going and have another look at it, and she's like, Mama, I don't think it's very well. I was like, oh, okay, why darling? There's blood coming out of its mouth. So yeah, the poor thing had hit the other window so hard that we think she'd broken her neck, so it was a bit sad. So it's been a sad birthday. But let's get on. Is there any coming back from that? Should I just finish now? Lots of pretty birds on here. There you go, that's how I'm coming back from it. What have I been up to? I have been up to lots and lots of stuff. I finally got the sewing machine out today, which just to me kind of signifies the claiming back of some kind of headspace, as it were. The exams have started, which means that my kind of intensive response with the students, my intensive sort of revision sessions and things like that, they've come to an end, and so now it's just as and when they pop in during the week to see me. So it's given a bit more headspace this week. Everything's gone well so far. So yeah, right, I'm a flaffering all over the place. So I'm just going to go through in the order that they're there. The first thing that I did today was I finally got around to finishing. Oh, if I can reach it. Come here. Huh? This one, I'll need that in a minute, I've just thrown that across there. F.E. Pasley, which says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might, which basically means to stitch all the things to me. And you know I had reproduced her and stitched her. I finally got around to finishing her today, and I decided to finish her as a little flat mat. So there she is. I finished her as a little flat mat because there's only so many things that you can frame, and she would look beautiful framed, but I decided that I wanted her as a little flat mat. I've got a nice little shoe pin cushion that's reds and greens, and I want to put it with that, so I just did a very simple sort of wraparound finish. And I will get around to putting her onto my Etsy shop just as soon as I can. I've obviously charted her, I've stitched her, I've got to take the pictures, and then she'll be there forthwith. But yeah, pleased with how that's turned out. I just used a piece of like bag batting, so like the thicker bag foam, because I wanted her to actually sort of stand up, so I can prop her up on a shelf if I wanted to, and she's just kind of a soft finish without the need for a frame. So that's her finished up. What else did I finish? Right at the beginning of the first Sunday, so I just filmed a FlossTube, and then while I was waiting for it to upload, I finished my Needle and Flax by Teresa Kogut on 36 count tin roof, Weeks Dye Works tin roof. So there we have. And I'm hoping to make this one into a pouch. I've been looking up how to make pouches, so I'm hoping to make that one into a pouch, because again, there's only so much stuff you can frame. So I finished that one up. It was very nearly finished the last time you saw it anyway, so that won't be a surprise to anybody. What else have I worked on? I have worked on my Miss Coffee by Barbara Anna. Now, look amongst yourselves please. There's the board. So this is a kit from Barbara Anna, and it's kitted up by Nitka Moscow, and I haven't ironed it. This is the one that, if you follow me on Instagram, I took on the train. Now, Mum's not been too well, she's all right now, but she had a chest infection that went into bronchitis, and I just said, look, I'm just going to come and get you, and then you'll be here, and then we'll be able to keep an eye on you, and you know, make sure you're not doing too much and whatever else. Like I said, she's much better now, but I wanted to take something on the train. Now, I've never stitched on a train before, so I wasn't quite sure how I would get on with linen. So I took some Mill Hills, and I also took this, and actually I was fine, because to be fair, this is the West Wales coastline. We're not going at any great speed here. At one point I thought we were going to have to get out and push. But there's I got in, for those of you who know, I got on a Carmarthen, and between Carmarthen and Port Talbot it stops at every hen house on the way. So yeah, it was a bit slow to begin with, but it was time by myself, just quiet, stitching, so I was not complaining at all. Although I was starving, absolutely starving. And I was hoping to grab something at the station, and the little restaurant cafe, it's a Greasy Spoon really, was closed. And then I ended up sitting next to this girl who was just troughing her way through bag after bag of things like Milky Way stars, and then she got out like a cheese straw, and I'm like, woman, I'm starving here and you're having a buffet. So yeah, she was very lucky that she got off the train. But anyway, this is Miss Coffee. So basically what I've done is I've done quite a lot of this and I've still got an annoying cough, still a lot of this fill in here, and then I've done a bit more on her dress. I decided, I was stitching the dark brown, and I decided actually I'm going to put the light brown in first, because the light brown makes a pattern that's much easier to follow than trying to put the dark brown in. So that's what I did. I'm nearly at the bottom, so that's sort of nearly the bottom of her dress, and then we've got some little buildings at the bottom, and then and then that's the bottom. So it's not huge, but it's pretty much full coverage. This little cough, it's one of the little catch throat ones as well, so it's still a cough, just a different one, which is nice. Nice to have something different. Okie dokie. And then this one. This is Witch's Brew by Brenda Gervais. Now I had this one started, and then you'll recognise it. I haven't got the cover, it's over in the bag over there. It's the one where she stood on a teacup and there's a spoon charm that hangs off of it. This is a piece of fabric that I dyed myself, and I think it's a 38 count, which is actually what's called for, shockingly. I was looking on the sort of wanted sites, as it were, and I do that occasionally just to see if I've got anything that anybody's looking for, because I know that I'm in a really lucky position, and if there's something I'm looking for, generally speaking, if I mention it, someone will contact me and say, oh, I've got it, I'll swap it, or happy for you to buy it, or whatever. So I do like to look on those sort of wanted Facebook posts, and a lady was looking for this one. And actually it wasn't this, I didn't think it was this one, I thought it was a different one. But when I obviously found the chart out, I was like, oh yeah, I've already started that one. It won't take me too long. I'll get it finished and then I'll send it off to you. So I thought I'd better have another little go at it so that I can send it off send it off to her. I haven't used the colourful colours, I've just chosen my own colours, but it's not showing up terribly well. But this is quite a purpley purple, and there's a little bit more purple in her dress there, or her apron. So that shouldn't take too much longer actually. The bulk of the stitching is in that cup. So fingers crossed I can get that off to her this week, and then she can stitch it. It's just to do with, I don't think there's any particular problem with the chart, it's just to do with how difficult Brenda Gervais is to find in the UK. Really hard to find. And I did a little bit more work on my Mill Hill pouch. So as that can't speak today. So as I'd found it out to potentially do some train stitching, this is the one that I'm working on. And I took it to swimming the other night as well. Come on, there we go. And that's where I've got to. So I did quite a bit more work on his beard last night. I've got several in here that I need to finish, as in FFO, they're all finished stitching, but I do like these. And I saw that Ros Clark Craft, I was watching Ros Clark Craft the other day, and she had bought, this is going to look like a right dog's dinner now, she had bought some of these plastic thread organisers from Amazon. I've written some numbers on that one. And so I thought, oh, I need some of those for my Mill Hills, because if you haven't been stitching them for a little while, the difference between light grey, medium grey, until you actually get all the threads back out again, it can be quite tricky. And I've made so many mistakes so many times before with Mill Hills that I thought, if I'm going to go back to that one, I need to make sure I know which thread is which. I'll show you the ones that I've got finished in here. I have that one all finished. I wish you could see how sparkly these are. And I have the little bear in the canoe all finished. Oh, he does look sparkly. And then I have this Santa with this hat. You stitch them in two pieces and then put them together. And he's got a little snowflake for his hat as well. And I've got a couple more in my other tin to finish. So at some point very soon I need to get all the sticky velvet out. I need to get all of the sticky back sellotape out, and have a real good go at finishing some of those off. And then, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll know I made a little purchase this week of this really sweet little sampler. Now, it was hardly any money at all, and the frame is a rosewood veneer frame, so the frame's worth more than I paid for it. But it's stitched on perforated paper, or what we would call Bristol card. Now, I only know that because when we were at Hampton Court Palace, the lady who was giving us the talk from the Royal School of Needlework showed us a piece that had been done on Bristol card, and that's what she called it. So we would call it now perforated paper, although we know it's more of like a waxed card. Then it would have been called Bristol card. And this is actually one of the smallest counts I've seen. I think it must be a 40 count, rubbish, a 20 count, but it stitches the same as it would on 40 count linen, so 20 count, board. And it says, "Dear Alexander, when this you see, oh think on her who never can forget thee. God is thy keeper, trust in him, for he will not forsake thee. A.B. Heart, or MC. So AB is obviously Alexander. MC, we don't know. I've taken the back off. There's nothing in the back. No great revelation in the back. Just the back. But I just loved this. I wasn't sure about it. Didn't put a bid in on it. And then I thought it had sold, and then I was really sad, and then it popped back up again, and so I just grabbed it. Now, the lady who gave us the talk at Hampton Court Palace, so it was absolutely fabulous. The talk started at 2, but as I said, the traffic was so bad. I had left, the journey should have taken me 2 hours. I'd left more than 3.5 hours and I was still 25 minutes late. I was gutted. The first 25 minutes I missed was the history of the Royal School of Needlework. So I wasn't as mad about that. I didn't miss any sort of stitching. And then she did the second half of the talk was about the history of needlework and samplers and embroidery and the things that we would see on the tour. And then the last hour was sort of going in the 2 studio rooms that they had open and looking at the various different needlework and samplers that they had. So it was all ranged from sort of samplers to plain stitching, to sample clothes, to baby clothes, to there was a big shawl on a table, but that was covered. Huge needlework panels, beautiful embroidery, raised work, so much stuff. But they had lots and lots of samplers out, and I have to say, they're the things that have my heart. They had all this beautiful beadwork, gold work embroidery, and I was just like, it's nice, but I don't know who made it. It's not signed. I can't find out who made it. I don't know the name of the person that made it, and so yeah, that's why the samplers saying the age of the girls on it, I find them so much more interesting than some of the big beautiful embroidery, especially when it's worked on by lots and lots of people. It just doesn't quite get me to give me the feels in the same way. So anyway, the reason that she'd mentioned Bristol board was there was one that was there done by a Sunday school pupil, and she said it became very popular because the machines that were used to create stamps were used to create the Bristol board, or the Bristol board. And so once you had machines that could make stamps, you've got machines that can make perforated paper, which is such an obvious thing. And so yeah, this popped up, and what I decided to do with it was to stitch it in red, because it's kind of like a love sampler or a little love note, a love token. I decided I wanted to stitch it in red, and so that's what I did. So I'll show you the front of this in a minute, but this is what it looks like. So this is stitched with the Gentle Art Schoolhouse Red on a 36 count fibre on a whim oatmeal, which is a beautiful fabric. I love it. And I have reproduced it exactly as it is. So she missed the little dot on the A on there, but not on there. So I've reproduced that. But just the thought, oh, think on her who never can forget thee. It just is amazing. So what I did was I turned it into a needle book, and I decided that I didn't want it to be just like a simple fold needle book. I was trying to make it into like a tri-fold needle book. So not sure how successful I was, but I like it. And you just undo the ribbon on the button. You can open it out, and there is a little felt woolen heart to put your needles in. So all I did was made it 2 sort of flats, if you like, one of the internal fabric, one of the external fabric, and then sort of sewed them together. And I have actually sewn this bottom closed, so you do have a little pocket there for whatever you want to pop in. So it was, shall we say, an evolving design for the needle book. I did change my mind from part of it, but I am happy with the way, with the way that it turned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this little chart into my Buy Me a Coffee. So if you would like to get hold of this little chart and do with it what you would like, whether you want to frame it, make it into a needle book, make it into a little pillow, whatever you want, I'm going to put it into my Buy Me a Coffee, which means you can go down there and you can download it for free. If you've already bought me a coffee, don't feel you have to buy me another one, but if you'd like to, then that'd be lovely, but don't feel you have to. So I'm going to pop that in there, and there'll be a link to it in the Buy Me a Coffee. So it's not one of those ones that once you've bought the coffee you get the link. The link will be on the page, probably in the news or the updates section. It's been a while since I've been on there, but it'll be there. But I just, like I say, it's just something about it that really spoke to me, and I've got a little space for it on my sampler wall. Right, I'm going to have to insult the list. So, done that. I probably should tell you just a little bit more about Hampton Court Palace. I went with, now I'm going to get the names right because I've written both their online names and their proper names down because it's so embarrassing when you forget one or either. Ruthie from Crow's Feet Stitching, Marie, who is Stitches and Diamonds, and she also organises Stitch London, so kudos to her because she was the one that suggested that we go. Chloe, who is Girl with the Gavel Stitches, so if you follow Chloe you will see that she has just bought the most amazing sampler. I'd love to say that I'm really happy for her, but I'm jealous as hell. It's so beautiful, it's so beautiful. Go and follow her, go and have a look, and badger her relentlessly to get the chart out. Hannah Cornish, who is also a designer, she does the charts, the Charles Darwin charts, she's done a couple of those, and the beautiful chart with all the beetles on. I'm going to link all these people down below, so if you're not familiar, you can go and have a look. We also met Elizabeth, who is the seasonal cross stitcher, and she just happened to gone along for the chart as well. So the talk as well. So yeah, it was fabulous, fabulous. Now the bit that I really was interested in was the talk. I'm really interested to hear the lady who gave the talk. And now I'll see if I can find her name, I'll put it down below. I can remember her surname but not her first name because I arrived late. I didn't catch her name properly, and that's why I haven't really taken any pictures either, because I wasn't sure, arriving late, whether it was the done thing, because they pulled things out of the archives for us to see, and they don't actually have a digital archive that I can find. So I was going to try and find some pictures of some of the things that we saw, but they don't seem to have a digital archive yet, although I think it's probably in the works. Sorry about that. So yeah, once we'd finished looking around the Royal School of Needlework, then they sort of put you out into the Royal School of Needlework shop, which is tiny. It's the tiniest little shop I've ever been in. I can manage to grab a couple of good things though. And then you were just in Hampton Court Palace, and that day we were there. There was a sort of an artisans fair going on in the backyard, as it were, and we just had to look around there, and then we had a look around the palace as well. It was great. I've never been there before. Really loved it, and definitely want to go again. Right, I have got a freebie. Now, I've chosen this one because I'm starting to get around to thinking about Christmas in July stitching. And the reason that I'm thinking about Christmas in July stitching is because I was watching Alba Stitcher, and she is kitting up Winter Sampler by Crosetta Kogut. I think that's how you say it. And I've seen this one and I really like it, so I'm going to put a picture up here. And so I suggested that maybe we do a stitch along starting in July. So I'm thinking maybe other people are thinking about Christmas in July as well. So I picked this one out, which is a Teresa Kogut. Whoops, there we go. Teresa Kogut Old Saint Nick. Now, I'm reasonably sure I've shown this one before, but it definitely bears repeating, especially ready for Christmas in July stitching. I know a lot of people are probably still doing Mania. I haven't done Mania this year. The last thing I need is loads more starts. And I've done it before where I've worked on whips and just had 2 or 3 starts, but I don't know, I just haven't had the headspace for it for this year. So Sampler September will be beautiful in September, and Christmas in July, and I think that'll do me for this year. Now, I also have printed out this sampler. So a lady called Hazel contacted me, and Hazel is Sampler Nostalgia. on Etsy. And she calls it fan fiction for samplers. What we would normally do is buy a sampler and then research the girl who stitched it. What Hazel's been doing is researching a girl and then designing a sampler for her, which is just such a genius idea. So this is her first one. This is called Matilda Goodwin, 1811. So it comes with a nice big chart. I'm going to show you if I can just, so obviously that blue bit's an overlapping bit, so it's a really nice big chart. Nice big legend, and she explains all about her thought process, and she also includes a letter that she's come up with from the girl who stitched the sampler that she's designed to a friend, which is giving information about the stitch and about her life and about just putting herself into the mind of this girl Matilda. So if that is something that you like the look of, do go along to her Etsy shop and have a look. I'm sure this is going to be the first of many, so do keep an eye out. Right, I do have quite a bit of haul just because I've been left unattended for 2 weeks. So it's a mixture of bits and bobs, so I'm going to work my way through it, but I do need to just gather it closer. 2 seconds. So I think my haul mainly gets summed up in 3 things: spools, stickers, and out of print blackbird charts. So let's have a look. I'm going to start with the stickers. These from Amazon. These are just a, excuse the rustling, fun little set of sticker stamps, which I thought were really cool. So just for adding to my book of days, and I also stick them on my planner at work. So those will be fun. And I found these as well. Oops. So these came as a set of 4, and they're all sort of vintage fashion. So there's kind of like a yellow set, a blue set, oops, a pink set, and a green set. So if we have a look at the green, just ladies in various dresses. Can't wait to stick those on my book of days. So there's the sort of yellow one. So think sewing patterns and you won't be far wrong. So there's those. That's, oh no, that's not quite the stickers. I also bought these stickers, and these are kind of clear stickers. So these all came together in a pack. So there is some mushrooms and various other fungi. Feathers. I've already stuck some of the feathers, so you can see that they're kind of clear. I don't think you'd be able to read what was underneath if you stuck something over it, but certainly the edges, you haven't got white edges. Sort of flowers and blooms, butterflies, ferns, and then kind of like Christmassy rose hips and cones and ferns and all sorts of things. Found those on Amazon as well. So me and Amazon must have been happy friends this month, is all I can say. Now to the spools. I do like decorating with spools, so I bought these 2 little ones here because I don't actually have any from this maker. I'll show you this one, it's a bit bolder. This is G Wiggly Derby. So the reason I got these is because my work husband is Mr. Wiggly. So yeah, I bought those because I just thought it was fun that there were some spools with his name on. And then I bought these spools as well. So they were a set of 3, and I think they've got silk on them, so I may actually even, who knows, stitch with them. So 3 blue silk spools. Now, what are you going to do with those, Michelle? You might ask. I do have a plan for these. 3 blue spools, 3 blue pairs. I bought them so that when my blue pairs are finished, they can stand on blue spools. Now I'm going to stitch my blue pairs all in the same blue. I'm not going to stitch them in 3 different blues, although I could to match their spool, but I just thought it would be really fun to have 3 blue pairs sat on 3 blue spools. So I did. Oh, it's a crash. Now, at the Royal School of Needlework, compulsory tote bag, and I also bought some other little pouches. They had lots of kits and things, but they were embroidery kits, and I don't know if I am ready to sacrifice cross stitch time for embroidery. I don't know. So I decided to go for these instead. Now I've looked up this brand and they do quite a few pouch packets, so I'm going to see if I can find any others. So these are the Dura pack, I believe. Is that what it's called? Albrecht Dura, yeah. So there's the hair in the snow. Now there's also some little buttons in here. This was some mother of pearl buttons that I bought on eBay. I'll just show you a couple of them because a couple of them will give you the flavour of them. They are all black and mother of pearl. And there's about 10 different ones, 10 or 12 different ones. Anyway, put those back in there. So there is the rabbit in the hair, or the rabbit in the hair, the hair in the snow. There is the ferns. And then there is the one that I bought it for, which is the rhinoceros. How amazing is that? I think I'm actually going to move my Mill Hills into the middle size one. I don't know if I'm ready to sacrifice that one yet for something other than something really super special. But yeah, I'm going to see if you can find some more of those because they were good. I bought these from Jeff P. Smith on eBay. So this is Boxwood Manor Sewing Book and Thread Keep by Stacey Nash. I just really want to do that building. Just build all those bricks. And then I picked up the Fairy Wool in the Wood June Months in a Mug, which comes with the stickers as well. I haven't done any more on these. I'm just collecting them at the moment. There is the rest of those. I think there was a pack of 12 maybe. I had some threads, mainly threads from Patchwork Rabbit, and also the Fibre on a Whim oatmeal came from Patchwork Rabbit. That's not the Fabric of the Month Club, that is just some that I bought. And then I picked up this one, Sew Sisters. So I grabbed that one. Ooh, somebody walking past. They're actually sleeping out in the garden tonight. Chris has decided that it's warm enough for them to sleep in the garden. Humble Bumble Stitcher was having a little de-stash, so I picked up a few from her. I think it was these 4. So I got Winter's Day Visit, which I've been after for ages. It's another one of those Brenda Gervais ones that's very hard to find in the UK. This one, One Starry Christmas Eve, which is, again, with my needle and thread. I've been looking for that one for ages. Let me just take the Fobbles sticker off. If you've never visited Fobbles, actually, go to Fobbles. They have some good stuff. So there's that one. And then obviously I have a thing about pears currently, so there's that one. And this one is On Pins and Pumpkins which is a long, thin pumpkin with birds on top. I also picked up this one. I can't remember who from now. It's called Winter Floral Sampler by Knotted Tree, which is not a brand I'd heard of before. But there we go. And then some out of print blackbirds, which were going for not out of print prices. Now, whether these have appeared in other books since, I don't know. I picked them because I liked them, not because they were out of print. But when I checked on the Geary's website, I don't know if you know, Patricia Geary runs a website with all the information about blackbirds, which ones are out of print, where you can find them, which charts are in the books and things like that, called the Gearys. So I got Rose Garden, which was a Reward of Merit pin keep. May very well have appeared in another book since then, but I can't find it. Country Garden, really, really sweet little one. I think I might change the colours. on that one. Morning Star, I've always liked that one. And this one, Trifle from a Friend, which I really liked as well. So I shall add those to my blackbird stash. Now, I think that may be it. I think that might be everything. I've made a right mess. My mum's going to want to come to go to sleep in here in a minute. So it's not, I forgot. So because I was so interested in the talk, and I think this is where I was going earlier. You won't have seen because I'll have cut it out, but I had a proper sort of, you know, moment earlier where I'd started to say something and I was like, I can't remember where this is going. It's like it in the supermarket earlier. I had to get about 7 things. I can remember 5 of them, and then I spent ages wondering around wondering what the other 2 were. And by that time, I'd added in several other things anyway. So because I really liked the talk that the lady from the Royal School of Needlework was given, I started looking for other outlets for this sort of thing, stitching information. And I'd never thought to look for a podcast before. And there is a fabulous, fabulous podcast called So What Podcast by Isabella Rosner. And there are 75 episodes, so which particular rock I've been hiding under, I don't know. But it is incredible. So if stitching history is something that interests you, go and find that podcast. 2 other things. Lisa Lyons-Duffin, who is Lady Huzzah, has started her very own FlossTube. Now you might have seen her with her friend Sylvia, who is running with needles and scissors. That's right. And she sometimes joins her on her FlossTube, but she's decided to go out on her own and do her own one, and it was fabulous. Absolutely loved everything she was stitching, but really the Hobby House Needleworks Dasher and Dancer, I loved that, so I'm going to have to try and find that one. I've also been watching Alba Stitcher, I think I've mentioned. Amy Loves Toads, Brenda and Laura, just starting to get back into other people's floss tubes now that I feel I've got a bit more headspace about me. Right, I will see you next week. Next week I am spending the day making stained glass. So last year my partner and my mum clubbed together and bought me a day with a very, very talented stained glass artist called Rachel Phillips. She's done some really beautiful big commissions. I'll put her information down below. And so yeah, I'm going there for a day. I'm really tempted to do like a stitchy related stained glass, but I'm also really tempted to do a heron as well. So I don't know, we'll have to see what wins next week. I might have something to show you next week, I might not. I might just have a lot of bloody fingers to show you. We'll see, we'll see. Anyway, until next week, stay classy, stitchers.